Howdy folks, been a little while for those of you that stop in on the regular. For those of you stopping in for the first time, hello. Now, the title of the video is Mo Power. This is kind of double-sided in that we're going to be doing a little install video on more electric power. But for those of you that have been following along on this 92 Coupe story, I'm going to be talking to you at the tail end of this video, giving you some updates on more horsepower, which is always fun. So let's get right into the electric side of Mo Power. Right, so before we get into unboxing the parts, I'm just going to tell you a quick little story as to how this has all unfolded in my head and why I'm going to all this trouble. So what you see here is SVE or LMR's 130 amp upgraded alternator. I put this on the car back in 2017 and realistically it's given me no grief. Now, as I've been going through some data logging on this car through a quarter horse chip, I started noticing that my battery voltage was in and around 13.4, 13.5 at best. I'm like, well, that seems a little low, so maybe this alternator is getting tired. And now 130 amps is a great upgrade from the like 60 or so that the original alternator gives you. But I am actually running quite a few heavy-duty electronic devices in this car, one being electric fans, and now that's not necessarily a game changer, but stack that on top of air ride suspension, so when my tank gets low and this thing needs air, those air compressors are a relatively significant draw. I also have a fairly large stereo system in the car, which doesn't get used a lot, but all three of those things combined are fairly big power draws. And now just the fans alone, when these fans kick on, I can literally watch my alternator gauge dip. And now I know that the biggest power draw that these fans are going to give me is on initial startup, and then that power draw levels out. But still, it's one of those things. Now, I have actually been battling, while I go through tuning this car, some heat issues, and for somewhat obvious reasons, for anyone that's familiar with the Kenne Bells, you know that they're just an absolute heat magnet. And this car, well, it has ran hot in the past prior to using these electric fans. I just had the mechanical fan on it before. It ran hot if you sat still for any extended period of time, which is somewhat understandable. Anyway, the car actually cooled very quickly once you got it in motion and started sending more air through that radiator. Anyway, since doing all these upgrades and adding electric fans, which I thought would counteract or at least help in that process, I'm still running on the hot side of things. Now, you combine all that with this alternator only sending like 13.4, 13.5 volts, and I'm like, I wonder if this thing could use a little bit more power, or at least a little boost. That's where this bad boy comes in. So LMR also offers a 200 amp option to upgrade from the 130 amp, right? For those of you out there, or me in this example, that have all kinds of crazy power options. Now, I don't know if LMR sells this in any other way than how I just ordered it, which I actually do not need all this stuff. It definitely won't go to waste. I'll use it somewhere. All I needed was the alternator, right? And from what I understand, it is an identical match to that of the 130 amp unit. It's just bigger, right? So we're going to be dropping this guy in there, and I hope that it's just a straightforward drop in. Like I say, in theory it should be. And we can see if I'm getting a little bit more oomph in the power system here. Yeah, it looks to be the exact same connections and everything on the back side. So we're going to be dropping that in the car here quickly. I'll show you how that all works out. And I guess this video would be more for those of you that are, already converted over to this 130 amp unit and are considering maybe going up to this 200. Because when you do go to install this, maybe you've seen LMR's video or whatever, you do have to do a little bit of die grinding on this alternator bracket to fit this bigger unit in here. It's not the end of the world by any means, but if you don't have anything to, grind that area out that you have to kind of clearance, it can be a bit of a pain in the you-know-what. if you're only dealing with hand tools. So I've already done all that. So this should be just a straightforward swap. Pull the belt, pull the couple bolts out of it, unplug it, drop this one in, plug it in, and we'll be good to go. Well, the only difference that I can tell in these two units is the 130 amp has a larger pulley on it than the 200. I sure as hell hope that these two aren't the exact same units. They're just spinning it up faster. Conspiracy theory, ladies and gents. In there like swimwear. I had to pull my homemade 4-inch cold air intake out. I really dreaded doing that because this thing's kind of a pain in the ass to get out and back in, but there's no way the old alternator was going out and the new one was going in without pulling that. So now I keep looking at this alternator and I cannot help focus in on that smaller pulley. I mean, these alternators are identical otherwise. And I do know that the guts inside can be different, but it does seem rather convenient that this alternator gives out more power and it's got a smaller pulley, yet the casing and everything's the same. I'm not saying, but I'm kind of just saying, I sure hope that's not the case. Anyway, whatever. It is what it is. I am going to have to do some fancy finagling of my belt, as you can see here. I do flirt with danger between kind of where it crosses over on the water pump there and my tensioner. This will touch. I know that for a fact. So what I can do is I've got the ability to move this idler pulley down some and shorten the belt a bit. This belt actually is a real pain in the ass to get on and keep tight, and especially in this configuration. I know there's different ways to run them, but I kind of like this one. Lots of belt wrap, lots of tension. Okay, now I promised you guys I was going to give you a little bit of an update on horsepower, right? As long as we're talking about more power. Here's the update. We have the 93 Cobra crank pulley, which is a 11% underdrive pulley from a stock pulley, okay? And if you've seen my video of having this thing on the dyno with the stock crank pulley on it, this blower was spinning up to like crazy RPM. I think we were seeing like 16, 17 PSI, and there's no way that this little 302 is gonna hold together at 16, 17 PSI. So we wound it down with a full-blown like underdrive, you know, like a 4 1/4 or whatever an underdrive crank pulley is. And that brought this blower down to about 5, 6, maybe 7 on a cold day PSI. But I did want to go to this 93 Cobra pulley, so went to that, and I've been data logging and kind of retuning everything. And this thing is now spinning up to like 9, 10, 11 pounds of boost, which is a lot of fun. And I would say we're probably 90-ish% of the way tuned. Like, this car is running great. So once I get to 100, I'll take you guys out for another spin. It's, like I say, a lot more fun with more boost. I think it'll be a more enjoyable video than the last one. The 4 or 5 pounds was just, I don't know, not all that much fun. But this is fun. And that's just like, you know, doing the things you need to do to data log it. I'm having that much fun in it. So when it's rocking and rolling, I think it's going to be a hoot. Anyway, that's where this video is going to finish off, folks. More power here and more power here. So stand by. I'm going to probably go on a little bit of a hiatus for as far as videos are concerned for the next little bit. I got lots going on with the family, but I promise I'll give you guys a big comprehensive update on what's going on with Castle Customs in a move forward fashion very, very soon. Lots of exciting stuff that I can't wait to tell you guys about. So as always, thanks for watching, folks. I appreciate each and every one of you. Take care. Bye for now.